Don't go. Not this.
Stop! I'm telling you, it takes a couple times. Do you like it?
No.
No?
That was all right. Dune.
Welcome back to Cozy Reviews, guys. Thanks for listening to my little song. Touch me. Yeah, welcome back to Cozy Reviews. Look, we got two new hosts.
New
New hosts.
New
We're the
faces.
OGs.
That's true. This is an OG little cuddle here. Little cuddle
It
fest.
hasn't been just the three of us in a while.
Just the three of us.
We can make it if we try.
Anyways, we're talking about Dune today. Dune this,
Dune Part 2.
Dune that, Dune two chicks at the same time, as they say in Office Space.
I'm leaving.
Okay,
Just kidding.
bye. But before we get to the movie,
Yeah.
it is sort of a sacred tradition with these cozy reviews to review some popcorn.
Joey didn't do it in the last one.
They don't know it's the last one, Brandon, because that one's gonna come out after this one. So thanks for that. We got popcorn today. Another popcorn.
In our very special. Brandon's very special.
Brandon's very special. You want to present about it?
My bucket.
His bucket.
My Dune bucket. It was nice.
You probably haven't heard of these, but here it is. It's a bucket. It's a worm.
My hand
Highly
is
functional,
stuck.
as you can see.
And it's stuck. Chris, would you like to try the Dune popcorn? Give us a little.
Ooh,
give us a little live
It's like warm in there because
commentary
the popcorn.
review. What,
No,
do,
that's
what does
just
the
the
worm?
worm.
What does the worm's teeth taste like? Taste like? Feel like? Does
That's
it?
delightful.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Do you feel like you can see past and futures?
This is the
Oh, yeah.
water of life.
This popcorn should have been blue.
Ethan, what if you were the Liz on Al Gaib?
Who's to say I'm not? All right, guys.
So Dune.
Let's talk about Dune Part 2.
I literally just saw this movie for the second time today.
You just saw
Oh.
this movie? I saw it
Yeah.
for the second time last night.
I've seen it twice in the span of.
12 hours.
Yep.
Which is fucking insane.
Well, I had to check it out again.
You
'Cause
sure do.
This is a
Big movie.
rare 5-star across the board
Yeah.
from the three of
Let's
us.
Well,
just-
didn't it not start for you guys?
Well, for him it was a 4.5 the first time. Me, it's been 5 all the way.
Me
Yeah.
too.
We're letting the reviews out right now. 5. This is also it's gonna be a spoiler discussion. You know, it's a week since the
Oh,
movies
yes.
came out. If you haven't seen
Let's
it,
put a big spoiler text right here,
spoilers.
just to be safe.
We all give it 5 out of 5. So
Yes.
if you're not into the movie, this is not the review for you. We're just gonna talk about this movie that, quite frankly, is a masterpiece.
It
Mhm.
is.
It is.
That is.
I have never been so. I have never been so enthralled
Yeah.
with a science fiction world since probably watching Star Wars as a kid.
Yeah, same. I gotta say, same.
But I also feel like it's a mature and sophisticated science fiction world.
Oh
It
yeah.
is.
That, like,
Absolutely.
I love that I'm able to both like be in awe of this crazy world building that Denis Villeneuve was able to do by adapting this book, but also tell this really like rich and deep sort of political commentary. It's not even political, it's just sort of commentary on human nature and greed and
Religious fanaticism.
Exploitation.
yes, exploitation.
White
propaganda.
saviorism.
Propaganda. Saviorism.
Exactly, white
yeah.
saviorisms. I'm sort of like the white savior of Stacked.
That was my job.
Okay. No, you're the heartthrob. I'm the white savior.
The white savior of the show.
I'm the diversity card.
token.
The Holy Trinity.
Chris,
Yeah.
you're
You're the biggest Dune head.
you're the biggest Dune head. You're neck deep in the lore
Oh yeah,
of
big
Dune.
time.
So
big time.
how does Dune satisfy your little Dune itch that you've been having lately?
I think the thing that really stands out to me about this is that Dune is, like you said, such a dense piece of fiction. There's so many intricate like motivations, different characters, allegiances, all this stuff going on. But something about the way Denis directs these films is so easy to understand.
Yeah.
And like, yes, there's your view of this movie will be absolutely enriched, especially if you've read the book. But even if you like take some time, there's a great. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to a channel called Alt Shift X.
Yes.
They make great lore videos. They have this great video, a bunch of great videos about Dune, and that really enriched it. Which you mentioned.
You showed me his lore video for just part 1, and I can't even tell you like how much that enhanced my viewing of part 2. My rewatch, because I loved part 2 without seeing it the first time, and then we watched that, and I just like everything clicked. Like I didn't know that like this world is a world where humanity rejects computers and AI, and instead focus on just building the mind. And I just find that so cool.
Well, how do you do that in a mainstream science fiction
Totally,
movie,
right?
And how do you convey that without like, because they don't really make mention of it.
I think there
actively.
are a
They
lot of
make no
heady
mention.
concepts in this.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's the big thing with these Dune movies is like Denis is taking stuff from the page and learning how to adapt it for a wide audience. And it's done so well.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not clear, like Ethan said, like you can sort of pick up on those things if you watch it post watching like an analysis video or something like that.
Right.
Absolutely. No, yeah, it's so dense, but it's communicated so thoroughly that like whether you are jumping in blind, you can have a great time with the spectacle. Even just like as a whole, it's just like it's honestly like just a fun adventure movie in its own kind of way.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get down and dirty with it, there's a lot of intricate themes, and like we mentioned, politically, there's so much richness there, and it reflects so much about our world. And like, I mean, this book was written in the 60s, 70s.
It was before Star Wars.
Yeah, and like its fingerprint on the sci-fi genre is so noticeable.
Yeah.
And also like, yeah, it's just so it's something.
I kind of, when I came out of rewatching Dune Part 2, I was like, this is kind of like the Dewey Cox for science fiction, where you watch Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story, and you're like, oh, music biopics are ruined for me.
And now you're like science
And I'm like,
fiction.
oh, all science fiction has come from Dune. Dune is everything.
Oh yeah, almost all modern sci-fi.
Almost all modern science fiction is just
based off something in Dune.
Something important from Dune was adapted into that. Like Star Wars is just Dune, but like way
Paul Atreides is
but like
just
way
Anakin.
smarter.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot darker. One of the things that I love about this movie, and I think a lot of people might have conflicting feelings about, is how it views the hero as an archetype. Because so often in science fiction are we used to the same old structure with the hero, the white savior, being such a sympathizable hero and person
like
to
Luke
follow.
Skywalker.
Like Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
or I don't know, like who Deckard from Blade Runner, or even McCready from like The Thing.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, from Star Trek. And these are all like either straight-laced guys or guys who don't play by the book, but like they're you wanna see these guys succeed.
Their intentions are always good.
Whereas in Dune, it's like Paul Atreides is such a nuanced character because he has a lot of pieces about him that are like so dark and dangerous, but at the same time, there is that initial intention where it's like this guy, he might be a good guy.
He's a complex person. And that's the thing that makes these movies work.
Yeah.
I didn't think Chalamet had it in him.
But
Me neither.
damn did he.
That last
Damn Daniel.
That my favorite scene in this movie is not any of the worm riding or anything like that. Well, as great as that is, it's the scene where he enters into the temple down south.
And has them.
Oh
has
my
them.
God.
Basically makes a big switch.
And if you watch this in a premium format like CineX, ScreenX, even if it's crappy as hell, IMAX,
40X.
40X. Why not?
Prime, you're gonna have a crazy experience with that one scene. It's as uproarious as an action sequence is.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because of what it means for the plot and just the power behind it. And I'm like, the sound design is so...
Yeah, the sound design.
I know it's like it's hard to say this like about a movie nowadays because there's a lot of hyperbole, but it really is like a masterpiece, like you said.
Yeah. It was pretty hard not to like not see that. When I saw it for the first time, when I saw it, I was like, okay, I gave it 4.5 originally because there were like some things that weren't working for me. Like I thought the relationship between Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya's characters were like, I didn't quite get the chemistry. The second time, oh my
It's
God.
heavy.
Yeah,
It
it hurts. It's heavy, but like, anyways, as I was saying, like when I saw it the first time, I'm like, okay, this isn't a 5 out of 5 for me yet, but I'm like, this is me watching like an all-time classic, not for myself, but for just like cinema as a whole, you know, and we get those things very rarely, you know. I don't think we haven't seen anything like that since Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah,
Return
because
of the
like
King?
you can make the comparison. Like I've made the comparison before in like reviews that for me a foundational blockbuster experience is seeing something like Avengers Endgame or Star Wars Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, stuff like that. But nothing quite compares in quality since Lord of the Rings, because with that actually felt like it was talking maturely about a subject. Not saying that those films aren't mature, but they're aimed at a more universal audience.
Yeah.
But also the thing that differentiates Dune Part 2 from of like Avengers or
Marvel
or
movies,
Star Wars is like, this feels new.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
does feel
Like when
very
people
new.
saw Lord of the Rings, they're like, this is fantasy, but this feels new. Like we've never seen anything like this, and we've never seen anything like Dune. You know, I mean, well, we have, like,
like-
You're
as we
lying.
stated earlier,
But not done like
not
this.
in its purest form, and in its purest form is completely new.
it's
you know?
so ballsy
It
for
is.
Warner Brothers to make a movie like this. Not just because they had the balls to take a chance on somebody doing two and a half hour movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't like what was his last movie before Dune Blade Runner?
Yeah, which
Yeah.
And which
bombed.
bombed hard.
And it's a
hard.
great movie. It's
And
just
amazing
And it
movie.
keeps him up at night, and I feel so sad for Denny. Denny,
we love
liked
that.
it.
that
we
movie's
love
a
it.
liked it a lot.
masterpiece. Don't let
Excellent
anybody tell
movie.
you anything otherwise.
yeah, and it's like to see like such a mature take on the science fiction genre,
Yeah.
where it's not it's more about the politics and about the dangers of all this stuff versus the typical hero's journey story and like the action behind it. It's more than that. It is.
It fully breaks down that stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and which I think is so.
It's
so
not only
fascinating.
a mature take on science fiction, which I feel like we do see that a lot. It's a mature take on the space opera.
Which we haven't seen
Oh
since
my
Star
God.
Wars.
This
Yeah.
movie feels operatic, you know?
Oh, yeah.
In like the purest definition.
Yeah.
I wasn't excited for this movie.
Oh really?
I was excited, but I wasn't going in thinking this was going to be a masterpiece. Because I really liked the first Dune, but it's like, I don't go nuts over the first Dune.
There's
This one,
like one sequence in the original Dune where I'm like, yeah, and then the rest I'm like, oh, it's good. It's good.
yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Like, but this one is like,
from the very.
I can't
beginning,
even
yeah.
say my favorite scene in this movie. I don't even know what
There's
it
so
is.
much. There's so many great scenes coming to
I know
mind.
my least favorite scene.
Well, would you like to share your least favorite scene for a 5 out of 5 movie that you gave?
Yeah, the first scene.
Really, the open like
I think it's
like,
the weakest scene in the entire
like
movie.
on like when
What?
Yeah, because when all the Harkonnen soldiers are going after the
Fremen.
Yeah, the Fremen, and it's a great set piece and such, but it is the weakest part of the movie because it just feels like this is just to get you back into the Dune world.
I could not disagree more because I feel like that scene sets up what sauce this movie's gonna have. Where it's like
yeah.
it's shot during the eclipse, you know.
Yeah.
The everything's orange. It's different, you know. The sound design is insane. When that body hits the floor,
You jumped.
you jumped. When they start floating up, you're like, how are they doing? That's not like a CGI effect. They have them on wires.
Yeah.
But they're able to keep their body so balanced as they scale this mountainside. I'm just like, I'm so impressed with everything that's happening in that scene, visually, audibly.
Speaking of that, shout out to not only Hans Zimmer or him and his interns.
Probably no. I think this one was him. I think he was like,
This-
I want to.
he must have done
I want to
this
do this one, and I honestly think it might be
one of his best.
top 3.
Might
of
be
his,
one of
of
my
his
top 3.
scores.
Same.
I don't
I
know.
can't stop listening to the
Put
soundtrack.
me in front of his discography, and I'll tell
Okay,
you.
Man of Steel. That one's still my favorite.
Lion King.
Lion King.
Better than Lion King.
Dark
What is
Knight
his,
movies.
The Dark Knight.
Rain Man.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Rain Man's one of my.
Boss Baby 1 and 2.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
he did those.
Are you there, God? It's
Are
me,
you there,
Margaret?
God? To me, Margaret.
I think this
Either
is.
that one.
I think the only one that is better is Man of Steel.
That
Fair
will
enough.
always be my goated score.
And,
it's my favorite movie score of all time. So I don't think it.
But also, shout out to Greg Fraser.
Yes,
That
the
dude,
cinematographer.
you killed that shit. Also, huge improvement from your work in the first film.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was telling you this, like, I can't get it out. The first Dune feels like a 2020s blockbuster. You know, like it has that
Sheen.
the sheen to it all. This one, outside of the CGI, I'm like, this very well could have
70s
been
or
shot
80s.
in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and especially seeing on 70 millimeter. I've only seen this movie in 70 millimeter, which is
A privilege.
such a privilege and a treat. But like seeing the film grain mixed with that cinematography, oh man,
It's magic.
oh man, oh my, oh me,
Yeah.
as
Movie
Elvis
man.
would say,
Austin Butler would say.
as Austin Butler
As
said.
Fade Rotha would say.
But yeah,
Say that. Wait, Brandon, could you give us your impression of Fade Rotha,
Yeah.
please?
Me and my nephew Chip.
Brandon and I are actually gonna have a knife fight after that.
Yeah.
After this review.
That's the plan.
So
I'm
One-
the
who-
Reverend Mother.
whoever's not in the next cozy review, that you'll know that's the loser. But anyways,
All right. How many Blu-rays, boys? We already
yeah,
said it.
we already said it, but let's put out a real graphic right now.
1, 2,
Let's go down the line. So Chris,
5 Blu-rays.
Ethan, 5. Brandon,
5. Blue.
yay!
Hey.
We love Dune.
We love Dune.
We
Anyways,
can't wait for Dune Messiah.
I-
Take your time, Denis.
Yeah,
Take
use
your
your time.
Dude, cook. Have that shit on a low simmer. Whatever you need, baby.
Yeah.
We'll be there. We'll be seated.
Day 1, we're there.
I think
Day 1,
Day
we're there.
1, we're there.
I'm going to read the books.
I'm gonna read the
This-
first book.
This
At
influenced
least.
me.
I want to go into Dune Messiah blind, but I do want to read the first book.
Coward.
So yeah, that'll do it for our review of Dune Part 2. Please let us know in the comments below what you thought of the movie. It can be spoiler free, not 3. Sorry, I'm excited for Dune 3. It can be spoiler free. Say whatever you want about the movie. Let's start a conversation about it, all right? So, thank you all so much for listening to our cozy review, and we'll catch you all next time. Bye, guys. Oh, what the fuck?